Hey everyone, Screaming Geek Community here. I am Jerry the Geek. Today's video, we're going to talk about my top 10 list of the 4Ks from 2023. But before we get into that, if you like physical media, if you like 4Ks, if you like Blu-rays, even DVDs, check out my other videos on my channel because I do these reviews, unboxings, discussions, collection updates. Check that stuff out, see what you like. Hit that like button, subscribe. Also, comment below. Let me know what you think of anything. Let me know what some of your favorites. Also, hit the notification button and for all future videos. So let's talk about my top 10 list of 4Ks from 2023. Kind of late to the party. I know everybody else has been doing theirs. It's first of the year, and a lot of the releases from last year, I had some of them, but didn't watch them until throughout January. I've been kind of holding off getting things together, so finally getting that out for you. Not an easy thing to do. There's so many good movies out there when you look at transfers and everything else. Even once you get it down to a certain amount, it's still hard to put in order. So a lot of them in this list, can go one way or another. They're just so damn good. I look at all together, not just visual presentation, but also audio. The overall presentation. There's probably some on this list that you probably won't agree with and wonder what the hell's thinking. But just, what I think, my opinions of all this. Also, there's a lot of other ones that's been on everyone's list that I don't even have. Like, for instance, the Warriors 4K. That's the top of everyone else's list. I hadn't picked that one up. Oppenheimer's up there, but I didn't get mine until just recently, and I haven't watched it yet, so I couldn't include that with it. So to start off, and before getting into the top 10, I have 4 honorable mentions that should be in a top 10, but just didn't quite make it for, just, like I said, just a process of elimination. You can't have everything in a top 10. So these aren't in any order, but the first one we're going to talk about is Swamp Thing, the original movie. It came from an MVD Rewind. Phenomenal release here. I've got reviews on all of these available. You can check out individual reviews, but do a little summary. One of my favorite things about this. Now, this is one of MVD's new laser vision lines they just come out with, and it looks like the old cartridge CED laser disc. And I love the thought they put into this. It actually does look like it. Even the wrinkled labels that were on the cartridge, because over time they did kind of wrinkle and warp. And it's got the little pull tab that you hold onto the cartridge. So that was very cool. They really put a lot of thought into the packaging here. Even on the back, you can see some of the wrinkling on the design. So this is one slip cover I will not throw away. I will be hanging on to this one. And also, being a new line, you can actually see the number here. Actually, number 1's the first one in the line. Since then, they've done Ghoulies, and I think Cutting Class is part of that line as well. I haven't picked those up. I really want to. Now, this is the first release I've ever bought from MVD. I'm very impressed with it. I've heard so much about them. I've always wanted to get some of their titles. And this is a movie I grew up with. The presentation is phenomenal. Now, it does have Dolby Vision. Great colors. The details are phenomenal. A lot of depth to the picture. Like some of the details, like the Swamp Thing suit, is all the weeds and moss, everything grown on the actual body. But at the same time, because of it being 4K presentation, you can easily see it is a suit and not real skin. But it looked incredible, and I have to say they did a phenomenal job with this. Now, on the audio side, it has a DTS HD Master Audio 2.0. It's a very nice track overall. It gives you an illusion of surround when it doesn't have it. Clear dialogue throughout. There's nothing you're going to show your system off with it, but it's a good, solid audio track. So that's why I put this with the honorable mentions. Like I said, it just didn't quite make the list, but definitely worth picking up. You need to check out. Next up, we have Universal's Prince of Egypt, the animated movie. Another phenomenal movie here. I wanted to put this in the top 10 because it looks incredible. It just got beat out. It just couldn't make the list. But it's not saying it's a bad one. It's an incredible transfer. That's what's kind of nice with this, my top 10 list. You know, it has a lot of boutique labels, but also some releases from the major studios. So it's a nice mix overall. But you got some great, amazing details here. You know, the shadows, so much depth to it. Color saturation is incredible. It's one of those you definitely want to have a controlled lighting in your room. You don't want to watch this in the daytime with light coming in because sometimes the picture is really dark. You might not see something, so you definitely need to have controlled lighting, and this really showcases your video. It's incredible. Yeah, a couple highlights was during the scene with the hieroglyphs coming to life. That looks phenomenal. Everything has a kind of a glowing texture to it. So Universal hit it out of the park with this one. It blew the Blu-ray away. The audio side, it has a DTS-X. Of course, I don't have that. I have just a 5.0 system. But great channel separation overall. Everything's nice, well balanced. Great use of surrounds at times. You hear things moving speaker to speaker. And of course, the music score, incredible. It's done by Hans Zimmer. So top-notch audio track here. So again, it's another one that should have been top 10, but just didn't quite make it. So it's an honorable mention. Now, next up is another one that should be in the top 10. It's in the top 10 of most people's list from last year. I just couldn't quite get it there. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I got the Blue Sky edition. That's also, I think, Turbine put out one, or I think they're the first ones to put one out. Then Second Sight put one out. Then Dark Sky put out their own. And Dark Sky put out two versions: a standard case with slipcover, and then a steel book. I don't usually like to spend extra for steel books, but the reason I got the steel book on this one because I have this movie on DVD steelbook and a Blu-ray steelbook. So my OCD, I needed to have matching steelbook with all of them. But another phenomenal presentation here. I mean, the colors and the details are incredible with this thing. You know, it does have Dolby Vision. Now, from the opening, when you see the armadillo on the road, details there, the textures of clothing. One scene where they're out checking out the property and you see the generator there. You can make out the actual brand of the generator. I think it was Wisconsin, if I remember right. Colors, the yellow, the flowers, the blue skies, and of course the details of a Leatherface mask. You know, the skin textures, the tones, the eyebrows, eyelashes, the stitching. That really pops off the screen there. Now, the audio side, this is one of the reasons it didn't make the top 10 is, it does have a Dolby Atmos track and a DTS HD Master Audio 7.1, a 2.0, and a mono track. I wanted a lot of details on my regular review you can check out, but in my opinion, the surround mixes I did not like. They were overpowering and unnatural. They just didn't have a good mix to them, which happens a lot with your older movies. So they just didn't handle the mix right, in my opinion. I mean, between all the tracks, I mean, the dialogue was nice and clear. It was clean, no hissing or crackling. Everything was nice balance. It just, again, the mixes weren't very good. So overall, I preferred the 2.0 track. I watched the most of the movie in that way. So just, my opinion, that's why I did not put it in the top 10 is because the audio wasn't up to what I would expect. Now, next up, the last honorable mention we have is The Last Starfighter. I just recently picked this up, so I had to check it out and see if it's worth including in the list or not. And didn't make the list, but definitely worth an honorable mention because it's from Arrow. For all of you out there, I mean, Arrow normally hits it out of the park with every release they do. And this one's no exception. It does have Dolby Vision, has some great details. The depth is there. The textures, colors really come off the screen. Some of the daytime shots at the outside, the picture looked a little soft, but I wouldn't blame the transfer. That just might just be the way it was filmed. But incredible picture overall. And on the audio side, we get a DTS HD Master Audio 5.1, 4.1, which was actually created for the 70mm release, and also has a 2.0 track. And I toggled between all of them. The 4.1, 2.0, they were good. They had a nice, clean dialogue throughout, crisp and clear, but just didn't have a good sound to them. So I did enjoy most of the movie with the 5.1. It's not when you're gonna showcase your system, but it sounded great. It's another phenomenal soundtrack here by Craig Safan. So that pretty much wraps it up for my honorable mentions. Now let's get into the actual top 10, getting to the bread and butter of this video. At number 10, we have Roadhouse. This came from Vinegar Syndrome. I've got the standard release here. Didn't even come with the slipcover. I got mine from Australia. Cost a little bit more because of a whole fiasco of another movie I had to return and do a swap. And so I ended up paying more than what I should have. But regardless, this is a great 4K for your collection. Great movie. This is only my second Vinegar Syndrome 4K I've picked up. I need to get some more. Just a lot of times their titles are so expensive, I just can't afford it. But phenomenal job here. It doesn't have Dolby Vision, just standard HDR10, but even then, it looks great. Has some great color saturation. The details and depth are all there. Great textures. Some nice highlights for the details is early on when Dalton shows up at the Double Deuce and he's standing up at the bar, and next to him was a wooden post, and you can see the carvings in it really pop off the screen there. Audio side, we get a DTS HD Master Audio 5.1. Another killer soundtrack, mainly because of the music score, because Jeff Healey Band did the music for it. Phenomenal. I love that rock blues sound, and it's really intense, and it's something you crank up and it's like you really get into. But it's a great solid track overall. It has a clear dialogue, has some nice subtle sounds also. So Roadhouse was number 10 on my list. Next up, we've got a Warner Brothers release, Enter the Dragon, with Bruce Lee. Another phenomenal presentation. Warner Brothers really hit it out of the park with this one, in my opinion. It doesn't have Dolby Vision, just standard HDR10, but man, when you watch it, you would think it has Dolby Vision because the colors just kind of like smack you in the face. They really come off the screen. Right off the bat, as soon as it opens up, it's like, fuck, this looks great. It has some great details, a really good depth to everything. When they get to the island, when you meet Han during this big gathering celebration, his robe he has, the colors really leap off all the details on it. The great solid saturation of all the black and whites are very well done. And then at the end, the final battle scene, the blood and sweat on Bruce Lee looks phenomenal. So damn, like I said, they knocked it out of the park with the visuals here. It is incredible. Now the audio side, this is why it didn't get any higher. I had to bump it down. It does have a Dolby Atmos and also a DTS HD Master Audio Mono. It's not perfect, which it's dated. It's an old track. You can only do so much with these old things. It has a nice well balance to everything, but the only problem is I thought the music was a little overpowering at times. It just kind of didn't sound right. I think they needed to bump the music levels down a little bit, especially in the surrounds. But besides that, I mean, had some nice atmosphere added. Not a lot of surround use, but just a little bit. Clear dialogue throughout, pretty clean. And you're talking about a movie that's over 50 years old now. The mono track was just as well done. So there we have number 9, Enter the Dragon. Now, coming in at number 8, we have Dragon Slayer. This came from Paramount. This is another old 80s movie. It came from 1981. It's a movie I grew up with, and I hadn't seen this in the VHS. So, damn, I was so freaking impressed with this movie. And it does have Dolby Vision, has some great details, textures, colors really pop here. The fires, the robes, gems, the green fire really leaps off the screen. So Paramount did a wonderful job here. I know when it comes to Paramount, they're hit and miss. Some of their stuff they've kind of screw up. They have a tendency to screw up every once in a while, but this is one of them. They knocked it out of the park. This is incredible. Now on the audio side, it has a Dolby Atmos track. It's a solid track overall. Has a nice, well balanced. The channel separation, some use of surrounds, and also the music score really has a nice showcase by Alex North. So awesome audio track with this. So number 8, Dragon Slayer. So coming in at number 7, we have Duel, another Universal title. This is a classic Spielberg movie from 1971. It's got great video and audio, and of course, being a steelbook, this is a Grub exclusive. This is the only way to get the steelbook. It is incredible looking, and it has a different artwork on the Blu-ray and the 4K, and the artwork behind. It's an awesome addition here for Duel. This is one I was really excited for. Definitely, I remember this back in the days. Remember watching it on TV back in the 70s, and I've had this on a DVD. I never had the Blu-ray, so I was glad to finally get this on 4K. This does have a Dolby Vision, and from the start, great presentation for being over 50 years old. Details, textures, all the grit and grime on the truck just pop off the screen. It's just incredible with what you see. Colors are nice. They're well saturated without being overpowering. Everything looks really natural. The color of his red car. The backgrounds of the blue skies, the mountainous, the landscapes. So incredible visuals here. They did an awesome job. Audio side that has a Dolby Atmos track. And surprisingly, where a lot of older movies lack, they screw up the mix. They did a wonderful job with the audio track here. Like I said, these old movies, sometimes they screw up, but this one has a nice mix. It's a nice, well balanced. Everything sounds natural. It has some nice channel separations, a slight use of surrounds, some really nice ambience at times. Especially a couple of scenes when you're inside the car and a truck's passing him. You can actually feel it. It feels like he's actually passing you, like you're actually there. So that was Duel, which comes in at number 7. Number 6, we have Princess Bride. This comes from Criterion. Now this might look a little odd because this is not the original packaging. It came in with a digital packs, and honestly, I hate the digital packs. They look really cool. They're nice collectible. But if we're sitting on the shelf, I have to open up piss with them all the time. I put this in a regular keep case and print out a cover for it. So this does have Dolby Vision. Incredible. This is visually stunning. And this is definitely a classic movie. I'm sure everybody wants to get this movie whenever a new format comes out. And definitely is one of my favorites. My wife's one of her favorites as well. It has a lot of good depth and details. Textures really pop here. Colors. Some of the details of some of the scenes with Andres, his hair, really stands out. When they're boarding the boat, you can just see their breath because the temperature is just right on the verge. It's not freezing, but just cold enough you can see their breath. And I don't think I've ever noticed that before. And of course, Criterion did a Blu-ray as well. So in my review, I did a 3-way comparison. I compared, the 4K here with the Criterion Blu-ray and an old Blu-ray for MGM. This was only a slight upgrade over the Criterion Blu-ray, but miles ahead of the MGM release. Now, as far as the audio, we got a DTS HD Master Audio 5.1. Incredible, well done. Some nice use of surrounds here and there, and everything was nice balanced. Clear dialogue, clean throughout. Some nice music and surrounds. So a really good, solid audio track as well. So there we have number 6, The Princess Bride. Now, coming at number 5, we have Streets of Fire from Shout Factory. This is another movie. This is another favorite movie of mine. This might have not been on a lot of people's radar, but I love this movie, especially with the soundtrack. It's got that Ry Cooder music. It's got that Southern Memphis rock blues. So I have always loved this. I had the VHS, Laserdisc, DVD. I don't think I ever got the Blu-ray. I did have the HD DVD of it. So I was looking forward to this. Was on my wish list for 4K. So when it came out, I was like, I didn't get it at first. I had to wait for a good price point, but once I got it for a good sale price, I had to snag it and add it to my collection. Now, this does have Dolby Vision, some great details, a lot of depth to it. The colors are real vibrant, leap off the screen. You know, those reds and blues, the neon lighting really pop. Has the gritty textures from the actual, because it's kind of like a period piece. It doesn't have a set time period it's in, but you can just tell it's a period piece. And everything's natural looking without being overdone. Really good lighting, great shadows, big improvement over the Blu-ray. The Blu-ray was very dark. It felt like VHS. So the 4K just blew it out of the water. Now, audio side, you got a Dolby Atmos track. Again, like I talked about the music, freaking phenomenal. It's another one you crank up and really jam to it. It's a freaking great movie. Nice deep bass during the music. Nice subtle sounds throughout, clear dialogue, everything's nice and crisp. Echoes when they're like in a train station, when trains pulling in. You actually feel like you're hearing echoes all around. So number 5, another phenomenal release from Shout Factory, Streets of Fire. Highly recommend picking this up. Now at number 4, we have another 80s classic I grew up with, Time Bandits. Oh man, if you don't know about this one, this was done by Terry Gilliam. Great movie. Has to deal with these little people that actually time travel. They got this special map that has tells them where and when these doorways open up, where they can go to different time periods, and they basically want to steal money. They're little thieves, and they kind of go through in the present day time period into this kid's bedroom, and he gets, kind of gets transported with them. So it's a really fun movie. I've always loved this movie. Great. I mean, Criterion put this out. I had to get this. Now, this does have Dolby Vision. Great details throughout. You're talking, this came out in 1981. It's another movie that's over 40 years old. It looks phenomenal. The textures, pops of color. They're back in the days of Napoleon. Him and his men, the uniforms, the colors, and the textures of it really pop off the screen. Now, on the audio side, it has an uncompressed LPCM 2.0. And it's surprising that a 2.0 track would actually make it so high on the list, but this is really well done. Actually, it simulates the surrounds. I mean, just for being a 2.0, you feel like the surrounds are on. It fills the room really nicely. And everything is nice, well balanced, clear dialogue throughout, crystal clear, nice ambience, nice subtle sounds, especially creaking doors, things like that. So phenomenal audio track for being just a 2.0. So I just can't say enough about this. That's why this comes in at number 4. Now coming in at number 3, we've got another Dragon movie, Dragonheart. This is another favorite movie of mine. This came from Shout Factory. I had this on HD DVD, and when 4K came out, this was near the top of my list. I wanted to have this on 4K, so I was glad this finally came out, and I snagged this puppy. Now, it does have Dolby Vision, incredible details throughout. From the get-go, when they're with Bowen and Enid, they're doing some sword training at the castle ruins. The details of all that really pop off the screen. The blue skies in the background. All the colors are nice, solid, saturated really well. Whites are very impressive along with the blacks. I mean, very well done. Nice and solid, leaps off the screen. Clothing textures, stitching. Yeah, another great thing was Draco. You can see more details of when he's spreading his wings. You can see different color tones and the patterns on the underside of the wings. That was very well done. Really hard to see before in older formats. Now on the audio side here, they gave us a DTS HD Master Audio 5.1 and a 2.0. Both of them are pretty good. I toggled into 2.0 track a couple times. It has a nice, well-balanced and simulated surrounds. Pretty good. Both tracks, the clear dialogue, and nice, crisp and clear throughout. But definitely the 5.1, this thing really comes alive. This is incredible. Great channel separation, great use of surrounds. So awesome audio track. And that's why Dragonheart comes in at number 3 on my list, because yeah, again, it was one of my favorite movies, and it just video and audio. This is a phenomenal outing for Shout Factory. Now we get into my top 2. You may disagree and wonder why I put these up there. I originally was going to put them as honorable mentions because they were movies that were filmed in digital. After looking at the pictures and looking at all the notes and everything, I had to put these near the top. It is the set. I put these together, the Avatar 1 and 2, because they're pretty equal as far as going, but no matter what you say about these movies, they might not be the best movies in the world. You might be overhyped, but when it comes to the 4K, the format, if you're wanting reference discs to promote your audio and video systems, these two need to be in your collection, because these things are reference discs from beginning to end for video and audio. So that's why I had to put them near the top, and just because of that, I know being digital and being newer movies are going to look great, but I just can't deny the fact of how freaking awesome these things are. Now, both of these come from Disney. Again, both of them were filmed in a digital. They don't have Dolby Vision. Now, these were released last December. They actually reissued these and added Dolby Vision. I have not picked them up. I don't like to double dip for them. It would be interesting to see if there's much of a difference, because these look so damn good. I'm not sure what Dolby Vision would do to them, but I'm curious. But anyways, the vibrant, as expected, the colors are so freaking vibrant. Everything leaps off the screen, some great deep contrast. The video on both of these are just pretty much flawless. And especially when you look at the Banshees when they're flying around, all the different colors. And then of course I forget what they call it, the really big one that had all the looks of the fire, the reds, orange, yellows. That freaking looked awesome. I just could not get over how good this looks. And of course the second one is all water and just like I said, you can't deny how good these 4Ks are. Now on the audio side, again, both of these have Dolby Atmos. I don't have Atmos, so I don't get that overhead experience. I have 5.0, but again, both audio tracks here are reference quality. Great channel separation, great use of surrounds, some great bass throughout during explosion, especially toward the end when you got the destruction of the home tree. And then on the second one, during the beginning, when the return of the Sky People, there's a lot of deep bass that's going to shake the shit out of your home. Clear dialogue throughout, a lot of subtle sounds. It has a great, I've talked about this before, a great audio track is something where you'll have the bass and explosions as well, but at the same time you have all the nice little subtle sounds, and you got the full range. And these movies do provide all that. And of course, you can't deny the music score. James Horner did both these. They're just freaking phenomenal. So that is why number 2, I had to put the Avatar pair up front. Because again, I didn't want to, because they're digital and not they're not movies that were restored. I just couldn't deny it. These have to be in everybody's collections. These are so freaking awesome. So before we get to the number 1, so let's recap what we had so far. Honorable mentions: we had The Lost Starfighter, The Prince of Egypt, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Swamp Thing, and then at number 10 we had Roadhouse. Number 9 we had Enter the Dragon. Number 8 we had Dragon Slayer. 7 we had Duel. Number 6 we had Princess Bride. Number 5 we had Streets of Fire. 4 we had Time Bandits. Number 3 we had Dragonheart. And number 2 we had the Avatar pair. So what was my favorite 4K from last year? This is another one that shocked me. I knew it would be up there, but I didn't know it would be my number 1. Until I started looking through all my screenshots again from my reviews, and This thing looks so freaking phenomenal. They did a great job with the restoration. It's one that was, I, along with a lot of people, was skeptical of how it was going to be done because of the director's track record with 4K. Well, you'll see in a second, but Titanic. I had to put this at number one after looking at the screenshots again. You know, being a period piece, the details in this thing is so incredible. You know, this came from Paramount, and this is another one they freaking knocked it out of the park, and they knocked it off the planet. I think this is probably one of the best Paramounts ever released. You know, it does, you know, it does have Dolby Vision, the details, textures, depth. It is all there. Again, we was all skeptical because we all seen what happened with T2 and how that was a fiasco, and being James Cameron, and so everyone was thinking this one was probably be botched job as well. But no, this was done right, and I'm not ashamed to put this as number one. This was just that damn good. You know, the colors are really rich. The blacks are really well saturated. The sweat in some of the scenes. When they pull up the safe onto the boat, and Brock is sitting there opening it up, he's a close up of him. The sweater he's got, you can just see the fibers of the texture of the sweater. And the beads on Rose's dress when she's getting ready, when she's attempting to jump off the back of the boat. So yeah, the visual of this is just stunning. And then the audio track is equally as good. I mean, we have a Dolby Atmos track here. And even though it's not perfect, we'll get that in a second. It is an outstanding track. It, you know, has a clear dialogue throughout, crisp and, you know, it's nice and clean, no hissing. Some great bass, you know, when it's needed. Has all the nice little subtle sounds, and the creaking, the ice when it's breaking off and onto the deck. You know, great channel separation, use of surrounds. The engine boiler room, that scenes are always some of my favorite to really crank up. And this movie, I did crank it up more than usual, and it was so freaking intense. And of course, you know, the music score with James Horner, and also the Celtic music really kicks in. That was extra. But where it lacked, even though this is my favorite, I'm not going to dock it because of it, because it's just a matter of how they did the 4K, and the Blu-ray was just the same way. It lacked some of the punch of the music. It wasn't as well balanced with everything else on the screen as the Laserdisc. You know, I still got my Laserdisc collection, and I had the DTS Laserdisc of this, and I always remember how impactful that was. And the 4K was just missing that part of it, but I couldn't dock it because of that, because how many people out there that are getting the 4K might even remember the Laserdisc, even if they had it? So without the knowledge of the Laserdisc, I couldn't dock it because of that, because this is a phenomenal audio track from beginning to end. And just because of my memory of the Laserdisc, it just fell short on that part. With that being said, Titanic is my favorite of 2023. I didn't expect to be at the top of my list, but after going through it, I just comparing the screenshots with all the others, I'm like, I had to put this at number one. It's just that damn good. So this, you know, this is giving me hopes of the rest of the Cameron movies coming out next month. You know, we're getting The Abyss, we're getting Aliens and True Lies. So seeing this, I'm hoping if those are nearly as good as this, I'm going to be in heaven, especially with The Abyss. That is one of my all-time favorite movies that needs a 4K, and I've already got it pre-ordered, so I'm definitely psyched about getting that one and checking that out. So that wraps it up for my top 10 list of 4Ks from 2023. You know, I never did a top 10 before. I definitely want to do a top 10 overall of my entire 4K collection. That's going to be a pain in the ass, because this was hard enough, just picking out movies from last year. So going through my entire collection and finding my top 10, that's going to be a doozy. That might be a while before I tackle that one, but I do want to do it. So yeah, check out my other videos on my channel. Like, subscribe, turn your bell notifications on. Comment below. Let me know what your favorites from the year are. I know my list is going to be very different from yours. You probably won't agree with some of them, but yeah, that's just my opinions and just want to throw it out there for you guys to check out. So we'll see you soon. Geek out.